I am not trying to supply myself with my own wind machine. I'm just really hot. Welcome to the June wrap up, and I'm very excited about it because I'm back. I'm back, and it feels good to be back. So let's just get right into it, and let's start with the books that I read in the month of June. I did not read a lot of books in this month because this was the month where everything started happening in my life and going wrong. So I was more focused on taking care of all of that than reading. So I only read 2 books, and the first one, The 20-Something Guide to Getting It Together by Mary Traina. Kind of ironic that I was reading this at the time where my life was not together, but this is basically, like it says up here, a step-by-step plan for surviving your quarter-life crisis. Because when you're in your 20s, you realize, you know, you're an adult and you gotta do adult things, but no one ever actually taught you how to be an adult, so you have no idea what you're doing and you're just making it up. This was kind of like teaching you how to be an adult in a sense. Like, it taught you how to get yourself out of debt, how to deal with relationships and friendships, and how to like move up in your job and in your career and just stuff like that. These types of books, I have learned after reading this one, I have learned that I'm very good at understanding the books. Like, I'm good at understanding it and being like, yes, I get it, that makes sense, but I'm very bad at actually applying it to my life. But I did like how this was written. This was written in not too much of like a comedic way, but it definitely had some heart in the voice, and it didn't come across as like, you need to do this and this and that. Really being able to speak to a 20-something-year-old and having them understand it. So I really did like how it was written. I also really love this cover. So I'm just waiting for the book that's like this that will actually get me to apply it to my life. So I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read this month, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Oh my god. I freaking love this book. Not only is this cover and the spine absolutely beautiful, like, do you see it? Do you see it? But the inside is beautiful as well. This is the first Leigh Bardugo book that I have read, and she's already one of like my favorite authors of all time. I truly and truly loved this book. This is the first in a duology, and this is about a gang of like 6 teenagers or whatever. They call themselves the Dregs, and they're in this like really grungy urban world. I don't really know how to explain what this world is like. She does a very good job of explaining the world, and these kids have to pull off an impossible heist and try to get this person out of the most secure prison in the world. Explaining it, I'm like, I remember when I first heard that explanation, I was like, this doesn't seem like a book I'm really gonna be into, but everyone seems to love it, so I'm gonna give it a try, and I absolutely love it so much. Her writing, I can't even explain her writing. It's so great, and I love the characters in this book. I think that's what really made me love this book, is the characters. There was so much character development, and I love how none of the characters are good people, but you still absolutely love the characters, and you still root for them and want them to succeed. The characters are just so complex, and the world has just so much depth to it, and it is so great. Can't wait to read the second book, because I still haven't read the second book in the series. Ugh. I will definitely get to that by the end of this year, though. Like, that is a must read for the end of this year. So anyway, Six of Crows, loved it, loved it, loved it. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Now on to the movies that I watched this month. Again, I did not watch a lot of movies. I was doing this thing where I was watching one movie every day for a year, but unfortunately that had to come to a halt because of things that happened in life. I'll just show you where I left off with that, and then I'll talk about the movies that I watched for the first time this month. Ella Enchanted, Enchanted, Epic, Aragon, and the Even Stevens movie. The first one was part of my watch one movie every single day for a year, and that is Escobar, Paradise Lost. To be honest, the only reason I own this movie and watched it is because Josh Hutcherson is in it. And if you know me, you know that Josh Hutcherson is my #1 celebrity crush. I'm very much in love with Josh Hutcherson. So this is a crime drama that takes place in Colombia. It's about this guy, Josh Hutcherson. I honestly forget the name of his character, but Josh Hutcherson, he's from Canada, and he's going to Colombia to visit his brother who is like working in Colombia. I forget what they're doing. I think they're like building houses or something like that. So he goes to Canada to visit his brother and help out for a little bit, but he ends up meeting this girl, falling in love, finds out that she is Pablo Escobar's niece, and he starts becoming a part of the family and the family business. You know what I mean? And he's just trying to get out of it. There is the plot line for you. I have to say, I was surprised at how much I did like it, because I usually don't go for crime dramas. They're not really my shtick. But I actually really did like it, and it was very fast paced, and I was like sitting on the edge of my seat for most of it, and it was great. I actually really did enjoy this movie a lot. There were some parts where I was just not really able to follow, but for the most part I was able to understand it and get into it, actually. So I gave this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last movie that I watched this month, Wonder Woman. Oh my goodness, I really loved this movie. So you know me, and I usually do not like superhero movies. I have never been able to get into a superhero movie. I've never really been able to get into the whole superhero culture. I don't know, I just can't get into it. I'm not one of those people. So when my cousin forced me to go to the movies and watch this movie with her, I was very hesitant and I was not looking forward to it. But this movie was incredible. Oh my god. I wish I could remember all the thoughts I had about it, because as soon as the movie was done, me and my cousin actually got into a very in-depth conversation about the things we liked and didn't like about the movie. But I do remember that I really loved the fight scenes. They were done so well. I loved it. And I loved Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. I loved her, not so much like her innocence in a sense, but like, I don't know, I loved how they didn't make her come across as too dumb when she went to the modern world of that time. I loved every single aspect about this movie. I loved the writing of it. I loved the cinematography, like the way it was shot was just amazing. And the acting was great, like hands down my favorite superhero movie of all time, because it's the only one I've ever really truly liked. So I gave this movie 5 out of 5 stars. Now on to my favorite moments. There is only one favorite moment, because again, life happened and it got really sucky really fast, and that is brunch. That's right, we did book club brunch again. It had been so long since we did book club brunch, and I'm very happy that we did it, finally. So we went to a place in Beverly Hills, I believe. I cannot remember the name of the place, but it was a bit expensive. But it was delicious. It was great. And it was me, Hannah, Kara, and Crystal, because we finally had Crystal join our book club. Unfortunately, book club has kind of stopped again. We haven't done brunch in a while, but I was very happy that we got to do brunch this month. Now we're going on to my favorite things this month. My first favorite thing this month is the Mask of Magnanimity. This is a face mask from Lush, which is a really great store. I enjoy that store. They have a lot of beauty, like face, body products. In June I did use this a lot. These actually really help my face with like the zits, and I got a lot of zits these past couple months. This really helps make my face look clean and healthy and feel clean and healthy too. Then my other favorite thing this month are sneakers. I've actually had these sneakers for 6 years now. I will say I do need some new ones, because these are starting to hurt a little bit. They're starting to get very worn down and worn out. But the reason why sneakers are my favorite thing this month is because I did a lot of moving in the month of June. I moved my stuff into a storage unit, and then in July I moved the stuff out of the storage unit, so I guess these could also be considered for July as well. Having sneakers really helped with moving stuff, because you need sneakers to lift heavy objects and to walk with those heavy objects to another location. So sneakers were really great, and they helped me out a lot this month. Now on to the TV shows of June that I watched. Now for TV shows, I'm not going to talk about every TV show I watched, just because I do watch a lot of TV shows. So I'm mainly just going to talk about the ones that I want to talk about. So first we have Grand Design. I unfortunately have still not finished this yet, but I started watching this before all the stuff happened, And I was mainly watching it because I was editing a video and I was like, I really want something on in the background, but something that like I don't have to pay too much attention to and I can still focus on my editing. And so I was like, oh, like a house hunting show or something. So I found Grand Design and I decided to play it, but I actually could not focus on editing my video because I was so like drawn into this show and I just wanted to watch this show. And I watched 6 episodes of it like in a row. It is great. It is like not exactly a house hunting show, but it's a house renovation show that takes place in England. But these house renovations are like unique in some way. I really enjoyed this show a lot. And then the other show that I really want to talk about this month is Firefly. I have heard so much about this show because I think this show came out in like the 90s. I didn't know about it then. I've known about it like recently, like a couple of years now. And I know it's a show that only ever had 1 season because it got canceled, but it has such a huge fan base and a huge cult following that I was always just kind of curious about it. And it also stars Nathan Fillion. So, yes. But basically, I was staying with my cousin for the month of June and for July as well. But she basically was like, you need to watch this show. And I was like, okay, let's watch it. So we would watch it together, maybe like 1 or 2 episodes a night. And I really enjoyed this show a lot. It's this sci-fi show that takes place in the future. It basically follows this group of people that are aboard this ship called the Firefly, or like this spacecraft, aircraft thing, and they do a bunch of like illegal odd jobs. So it's so good. I was surprised it didn't get a 2nd season because especially how the 1st season ended, I was just like, there was no ending. So of course after that we had to watch Serenity, but that is in July. I will talk about that for July wrap up because that was a movie in July. So that is it for TV shows. Now on to the last portion of this wrap up, which is my favorite song of the month. And my favorite song this month that I listened to a lot was Hard Love by Need to Breathe. And Need to Breathe is one of my absolute favorite bands. I did go see their concert last year. It was so fun, so great. But this song really helped me get through the month of June because that was kind of like the beginning of everything. And so Hard Love just made me want to like push myself, I guess. I don't know, it was just kind of like the song that helped me realize that I can't just sit around. I have to fight. I have to do something, and I have to work hard at this. I basically just listened to the song over and over when I was moving all my stuff, like just on repeat. Alright, so that is the month of June. You can click this button here to subscribe to me, and you can click this little button here to go to the next wrap up, which is for July. So see you guys in that video.